amazing turnout at PCC. Superintendent President?
Yes, I'll try to keep this below an hour, but sorry. I do have a few items that I want to focus on. First, I want to congratulate Trustee Virginia Baxter. She recently announced her retirement from the Long Beach City College Foundation after countless years of service. She built that foundation, and it's amazing to think what's going to happen going forward without her in leadership, but she has built a foundation that continues to be one of the top foundations in the state, and I know whoever steps into her very large shoes will have the benefit of all the great work that she's done. So I want to personally thank Dr. Baxter for her service to the foundation. We still have a little ways to go before she's officially done, but I just wanted to recognize her on announcing her retirement.
Thank you, President, Superintendent President. I am not crying. I wear contact lenses and my eyes were, I had to put eye drops in my
That's
eye.
not true. I made you
I'm
cry.
not- I'm not crying.
I thought it was because he said you had big feet.
Big shoes to fill. I didn't say big feet. Okay. A couple other things. First of all, let me just reiterate the great work that you saw on display today with our math faculty and the folks who represented Student Support Services. What you heard today really is a vision of the future of education, not only at Long Beach City College, but across the state and the nation. A real focus on structured pathways and a focus on creating customized education for students. And Alex is just the beginning of a move toward implementing technologies that allow us to expand everyone's capacity, but also allow students to be able to get more information and to self-navigate. So I think this is going to be an interesting couple of years going forward as we invest in these technology solutions. On the one hand, it's going to make our student experience much more customized, and on the other hand, people may fear that Lord Alex is going to replace us all. I assure everyone that that is not the intent. The intent is to make everyone more, to build everyone's capacity, to build our ability to reach students where they're at, and to allow us more opportunity to provide learning for students wherever they're at. So that's the intent, and I'm glad that people are excited, and I hope that excitement continues. The last two things I want to say, and again, I want to echo what Karen just said, which is it's unfortunate that a lot of the faculty who were here before are not here. But nonetheless, I understand that they have other things to do than to sit here and listen to us. But there were two comments made that I want to react to. First, I want to agree with CCA President Janae Hahn that it is extremely important that we focus on investing in our faculty and on investing particularly in our students. And I think we're doing both. I think you saw a great demonstration of how we're investing in the math faculty. That's one small example of the overall investment we're making in the classroom, both in terms of educational technologies, in terms of professional development, which we have invested significantly and will continue to invest significantly in professional development, investing in hiring new faculty, investing in innovation, which we have made available a number of grants to our faculty, and we are going to continue to do that. I think that investing in our faculty's ability to better support our students is exactly what we all want to be engaged in, and we're going to continue to do that. That includes investing in our part-time faculty and their professional development and their ability to engage in our planning processes and really look forward to the future of how we better serve students. We've also increased staffing in and around our classroom with our classified staff, which is key to faculty success. The classroom cannot be successful without the thousands of classified staff that support each and every one of our faculty. And we're going to continue to invest in the professional development of our classified staff and in growing the ranks of our classified staff. So I just wanted to make that point, because as we talk about all of these efforts and all of these investments, I want to be clear that the charge is to invest in the future of this college through its people, its ability to reach our students, and the professional development of each and every one of our employees. And that's what we're going to continue to do. The last thing I'm going to say is on this issue of safety. You know, we were all reminded again and again and again with, in this case, the most recent shooting at one of our sister community colleges in Oregon, that we are all vulnerable. As many of you know, the number of school site shootings has just continued to go out of control. There is almost a shooting every day at one public site or another in the United States. And this issue of mental health is an issue that every public, private institution of learning is dealing with. And we are very much committed to learning everything we can about what's working, to try and look at every option possible to support our faculty and staff and ensure their safety, and to deal fairly with our students, and to provide the supports that they need, working with the city and working with everyone involved. A good example of that is we talked about homelessness. Mental health and homelessness are two issues that are intertwined. And so we are committed to working with the city to provide services outside the college and within the college to support our students. At the same time, we don't want to profile our students. We want to give them every opportunity to succeed in the classroom. So this is going to be a constant friction between what some want and what others need. And it's not something that we are going to get perfect every time. We're trying to provide support to the Office of Student Affairs. I think anyone who's worked in student services knows one of the most difficult jobs on campus is student discipline, because we not only have to weigh the rights of the student, the faculty, the large community, but we also have to try and provide an opportunity for students to succeed in the classroom. And some of those students definitely have mental health issues. And much of those mental health issues are well beyond our ability to support the student. So we as a community, as a state, as a nation are going to have to come to grips with how we deal with mental health. And we will continue to be proponents of that. We're going to continue to do everything we can to work with the state and the federal government on how and when individuals can bring weapons onto campus. That has become a major issue recently. Who can and cannot bring a weapon onto campus? From my perspective, the less weapons we have on campus, the better. To that extent, the governor has agreed and recently signed into law a law that would prevent individuals who have concealed weapons permits from bringing the weapons onto campus unless otherwise authorized. So this is not going to be an easy issue. We are investing in safety. We are already in discussions through our facilities planning committee, through our campus safety committee, on what measures we need to put into place to make our classrooms more safe. Of course, we have to realize that every measure that we put in place, we create an unanticipated consequence. As soon as we provide opportunities to lock doors from the inside, we risk students being able to lock doors from the inside and cause harm to students in that classroom. So we're going to have to work hard to balance all these issues, anticipate the unanticipated, but recognize that as a public education institution, we are going to keep our doors open to everyone. The moment we start putting up fences around our campuses is the moment that we have lost the battle to ensure and protect academic freedom. Having said that, it pains me to hear Kristen Moreno talk about her safety. It pains me to hear Laura Wheeler's experience. And so we are going to continue to work with our colleagues, with our planning committees, to do everything possible to educate, to prepare, to protect everyone on our campus. And I'm very proud to say that working with LBPD, with all of our folks on campus, we really do have a very safe campus, and we have had an extremely safe campus for many, 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 many years. It's my commitment that we're going to keep it that way. The shooting earlier was brought up. I think that is an example that we were prepared. We had officers on the campuses who have been trained in active shooting situations, who immediately went after the situation and stopped it before it became worse. I think, yes, we were lucky, but we were also prepared, and our officers were prepared. So I'm not making in any way an excuse. I want all faculty and staff and students to know that this issue is taken very seriously, and we're going to do everything possible to provide solutions that make sense to all of our constituent groups on campus, regardless of what their roles are, because we are all vulnerable at any public facility. So we're going to do the best we can to do that. We're going to, as we talk about the bond measure, we're going to think about ways that we can further increase security on campus. We are already moving to install cameras at locations throughout the college, but recognize that at the end of the day, we all need to work together to ensure that information is shared and that it gets up to the right people so that we can take every risk as serious as possible and try to ensure the safety of us all. I just want the board to be clear that this is not an issue that we are taking lightly, and it is an issue that we're constantly wrestling with, and it's unfortunate that we get great reminders like we did at Umpqua Community College coming back to us time and time again. And I tell you, I know folks at Umpqua Community College, they worked very hard to protect their students and faculty. But when somebody walks in with an intent to do harm, it is very difficult, but we are going to continue to do everything possible to prevent it. That's all I have to say.
May I ask 2 questions?
Sure. Trustee Baxter?
Yeah, Superintendent, President Oakley, why would there even be a discussion as to who can carry guns on campus? That's number one. I taught at night, and I told every police officer in my class, you better not walk in here with a gun. And that was 35 years ago. That's number one. Number 2, years ago, we had students in red jackets, I was going to bring this up in who walk people to class. What has happened to that, and is that a possibility? Because I understand how Christina felt, but I also do know that PCC, I think, has less crime than LAC. So it's unfortunate that she feels threatened like that. But anyway, those are my 2 questions.
So, this is America, and guns are available to many citizens throughout the greater Long Beach area. So there is there is thinking that perhaps the way to stop shootings is to allow more people to have the ability to carry their own concealed weapon.
That's the Texas theory.
Yes. So nonetheless, and there are many individuals who have concealed weapons permits, and some of them are our faculty. And so that question was raised. Why can't we bring our concealed weapons onto campus? And maybe some of them are. I assure you that on any given day, and I'm sure Lieutenant Pryor could back this up, there are people carrying weapons on this campus. So on a policy matter, we are not supporting bringing more weapons on the campus. We don't think that that's the solution. So that's where that question has been raised. And I understand the question. Unfortunately, just to carry this forward, if you take the Umpqua Community College example, there were individuals carrying concealed weapons. They chose not to engage. And if you think about it, if an officer is approaching a situation and there are numerous people in plain clothes shooting at each other, how do they know who is the perpetrator? So on a very basic level, we're making the job of our uniformed officers more difficult if we allow that to happen. On the second question, I think it is a good question we need to get back to. Currently, LBPD does provide escort service for anyone who calls. And so first and foremost, we need to reissue that statement and make sure everybody understands that at any given point in time, they can call Long Beach PD if they're concerned about getting to and from class. We have, at various points in times, had various iterations of escort services. ASB was involved at one time. We had our own safety interns, or whatever we call them, involved. We do have a certain amount of liability anytime we employ the students or temporary workers to get involved in escort services. So they have to be very well trained, and because we've become a more litigious society, that has become a challenge. Now, it is something I'm happy to send back to our folks to take another look at to see if there's any other way that we could increase the number of escorts on campus, but that is an issue that is a challenge because of the concerns related to the training of these individuals who will be escorting. I mean, they really can't protect people. They can escort people, but they are not trained to protect.
Yeah. Thank you.
President Oakley, if I may, the number to call if you want to escort service is extension 4910. If you're on campus, if you're not on campus, it's 938-4910.
Okay, thank you. Student trustee report.
Thank you. So it's a little dull now, but I'm excited to be back at these meetings. We haven't had a meeting in a little under 2 months actually. So yeah, we're halfway through the semester. Midterms are over. This is a time where we realize class attendance is actually necessary, so we'll go to class more often. So a couple things coming up before our next board meeting is this Friday we are having the Beverly O'Neill Student Leadership Conference. That's another thing that we're promoting towards student success. We're offering leadership programs and networking capabilities for students that want to go. It's this Friday, October 30th, 8 a.m. to 4 p.m. That's free to all students that registered. I think it might be full by now, but you can go ahead and check by calling 562-938-4226 if there's any students still left in the audience, or just contact Maya Cardenas. And then Friday, November 7th is the homecoming game. That's Saturday, November 7th, excuse me. Yes, ranked number 1 in the nation, so that's awesome. Excited for that. Hopefully we beat Riverside this Saturday, and then we take home that first place win against Citrus on November 7th at the homecoming game. And before that, there will be a tailgate event happening in the Veterans Stadium that starts at 3 p.m. if you guys want to stop by. A lot of clubs will be participating. There will be a lot of booths, a lot of food, so hopefully you guys can make it. And yeah, keep it brief for today, so thanks.
Great. Board of Trustees, starting with Trustee Zia.
Thank you. On September 16th, one of our Long Beach City College homeless task force leaders, Mr. Walter Larkins, and I attended a session in Los Angeles hosted by Poverty Matters regarding a homeless to housing successful models for change program. This session was focused on successful models to provide sustainable solutions for the homeless population, such as housing. It was co-hosted by Senator Holly Mitchell, Assembly Member Adrian Nazarian, Council Members Gil Cedillo, David Rio, and Mike Bonin. And the program gave great insight on the success of housing in Utah, which brought the private and public sectors together. And we attended this event to understand long-term pathways of providing support, such as housing for homeless students. And I've said before, the fact that we have homeless students is not only heartbreaking, but a critical issue that needs to be addressed. It is one that both Trustee Baxter and I are committed to working on with our community partners by way of providing scholarships and other support services. I'd like to invite our fellow trustees and our community members who would like to help to contact us. You can contact me directly, since I give out my cell phone number, and support our students. I've also put out a call to action to our associated student body, who you heard from earlier, and I'm glad that they've taken it on as an initiative and a challenge to support our fellow students. On that note, on October 14th, as you know, we have set up a homeless task force committee, and we met, and I'm happy to say we've approved our first recipient of a living scholarship, is what we call it, for our LBCC student. And I want to thank Trustee Baxter for her support and leadership, along with the rest of the task force. And I look forward to continuing to support our students and invite our community members who have questions or would like to get involved and support this initiative to contact me at area code 562-270-5017. That is my cell phone number, or my email, sunny, SUNNY, .z as in zebra, ia1@gmail.com. I also want to congratulate our football team and Coach Peabody for ranking #1 in the nation so far. Great job. You make us all very proud, and we look forward to a victory on October 31st and the claiming of the championship on November 7th. And lastly, I want to thank Superintendent Oakley for discussing the public safety issue. I've gotten numerous emails about the concerns that the faculty have, and as we heard tonight, and if our faculty are not feeling safe, or if they're feeling that their condition is not really in a position that they feel that they can fight with the perpetrator, and rightfully so, I understand that, and I'm confident that we're taking measures, and I wanted to see if we can get a presentation at some point, some of the things that you mentioned tonight, Superintendent Oakley and Vice President Gable. If there is a presentation that we can get on how we're preparing for emergencies and incidents such as this, God forbid if it were to happen, how are we preparing our staff and faculty? I'd greatly appreciate it. Thank you. That's all I have.
Trustee Archuleta.
Thank you. Yes, I also want to comment on the situation regarding safety. And as a former vice president, I am quite aware of how difficult it is and what a challenging issue this has become across the state, across the nation, as a matter of fact. And again, this is something that we can only resolve if we work together as one team. And so rather than, focusing on who is responsible and who should take the responsibility for assuming, the creation or institution of safety measures. I think it's something that can only be done if we all come together and we all work together. And I also want to caution that we not fear our students, because again, as we heard earlier in the conversation and the math presentation, what helps students to excel is when they find that people believe in them, that people value what they bring to the institution. But if we start to profile our students and we start to fear our students, I don't think that's a good environment to be in. So I have to caution us, because I know it's very challenging, it's very difficult to really create an environment where we can all feel safe. I think we can put all the measures in place, but we're never going to be 100% safe. So I really get concerned, and this is something that I know we dealt with. How do we make the institution, make those that are in the institution feel safe at the same time without making our students or profiling our students? So I have to cautious us about that. I'm sorry, make us cautious about that. And sometimes it happens when faculty begin to fear students, or where the students feel that they're not being welcome, that it creates a very uncomfortable situation. So we need to work together. We need to sit down and talk about what measures need to be put in place, and we're all responsible. Every one of us is responsible for maintaining those measures in place. So anyway, it's a difficult and very complex situation, and I know it's going to require a lot of conversation and a lot of dialogue for us to actually come up with some recommendations. On a more positive note, though, I also want to commend the college for the excellent job that they did in doing the major declaration event. It was a wonderful event at PCC, and I know tomorrow you're going to have it here on campus, and I'm sure it's going to be an excellent event as well. But this is another initiative to improve our student success and to get our students to meet that new requirement of declaring a major before they reach the 15 units. So again, I want to thank all the faculty, and I had a wonderful time at PCC. I got to, I got a nice tour of our construction area, and I got to see what the students are doing, what they're working on, and also had an opportunity to look at the equipment that we're now using for welding, the high-tech equipment. So it's a wonderful opportunity, so I want to encourage our colleagues, my colleagues on the board, to participate in the event tomorrow, because it's really a worthwhile event. And thank you for your work, and so it was wonderful, so thank you. And yes, and also kudos, congratulations to the football team on being ranked #1.
Great, thank you. Trustee Baxter.